Welcome to the Lodger review. I need to come up with better intros for these, man. The Doctor in a school. We've never done that before. Whoa, but it is different because he's not a teacher this time. He's the caretaker. Did I say the Lodger? I meant the caretaker. I like this episode. I think it's good. It's an easy premise. The Doctor is the caretaker of a school. He becomes the caretaker to defeat this alien robot running around the place that's really deadly but actually doesn't do much killing in the show apart from one random police officer. And that's just to, benefit the overarching story of Missy's Paradise. So it's really deadly robot. And the main thing I like about the episode is that it doesn't focus on the plot as much. It focuses more on the characters again, a bit like Listen does, where we've got our main three characters, the Doctor, Clara, and Danny Pink, and they all are sort of, the way they clash together is really good. The Doctor and Danny are both trying to impress Clara, and Clara's trying to show to them, look, I can travel with him and be in love with you, and that doesn't make a difference to how this is going. You don't need to outwit each other and outplay each other, and they do that a lot in this episode. Like, Danny goes invisible and winds up the Doctor to the point where he gets really angry with Clara. And Danny's then like, see, Clara, this is who he is. This is the evil man who you're travelling with. But then the Doctor does it in ways like last time with Time Heist, where he wants to take Clara on better dates than Danny is to impress her. And I like that a lot. And I like when Doctor Who, like I say, focuses more on character. The plot of this episode isn't actually very good, but the characters make up for it. Now, synopsis done. Let me just talk about the episode chronologically, what I thought of it. The Doctor isn't always there for Clara. Like, she's not one of those companions that like Rose was, where she'd just pack up, she'd go in for washing and like a meal, and then she'd go back out and they just travel together all the time. The Doctor is a hobby in Clara's life, and I'm pretty sure I've not just made that up. I think she does say that in one of these episodes coming up, that like he's a hobby. Maybe she says it in Into the Dalek, I'm not too sure, but it's clear that she lives on Earth, she has a job, and once a week or once a month the Doctor will pop in and be like, hey, let's go do this fun thing. But at the minute in this episode, it shows it picking up a bit. She never really has a time to sit down and just breathe, because she like goes from date with the Doctor to date with Danny to work, to date with the Doctor, date with Danny, work. It's shown in the intro a lot. She never really has time to just sit down. But I like when the Doctor becomes the caretaker and he imposes on her life when she's just trying to teach. Is it Jane Austen on the board? And the Doctor's like, oh no, what you've written there is wrong. She wrote the book a year before the year you've put. And she freaks out. She's like, oh, well, I suppose it's because you went back in time and you were good friends with her and you were chums and stuff like that. And then he's like, well, no, I just read the book. And I found that really funny, and I love Peter Capaldi in those moments. I also love Peter Capaldi in the moment where he meets Danny Pink for the first time. And it's great in this moment because he doesn't know that Danny and Clara are together. He doesn't know this. This episode is him figuring that out, and it happens later on, which I'll get to in a bit because I love that scene. But I love the bit where they meet for the first time without him knowing that Danny's going to be an important character. And he just says things like, you're a soldier. We know the Doctor doesn't like soldiers. And then he's like, you're a PE teacher as well as a soldier. And the amount of times Danny says, no, I'm a maths teacher. But the Doctor's like, nah, PE. Which I just found quite funny for some reason. I also found it funny how the Doctor immediately assumes that... I keep going to say Jenna. The Doctor immediately assumes that Clara's boyfriend is the teacher that looks like Matt Smith, which I find really funny. People don't like that. They say it's a bit too on the nose. I didn't even pick up on that as a kid, to be honest, when I first watched this. But no, this episode has just funny moments. And Danny finding out that Clara and the Doctor are some sort of crime solving, not crimes, but you know what I mean, like finding out that your girlfriend travels in space with an old man is just such a good scene when he's like, Clara, this is your dad. And she's like, what? And he's like, how can you think I'm her dad when we look exactly the same age? And Clara's like, we don't look the same age. And the Doctor's like, I know, I was being kind. I love that, man. I just love it. And the Doctor's concept of age is something that's, it's questionable. Like, he goes for Rose Tyler, who's only 19, and yet thinks Courtney Woods is 35 in this episode. That's something that strikes my mind a little bit weird. He says to Courtney, how old are you, 35? Or it's in the next episode. I watched Kill the Moon and this one back to back, so I don't remember. No, it's Kill the Moon, actually, never mind, it weren't this one. But he says to Courtney, like, what are you, 35? Which means if he thinks Courtney's 35 and she looks 15, what did he think Rose was? And he knew she was 19. Bit noncy there, Doctor. But his concept of time is a bit funny and it's all over the place. But that whole scene where Danny finds out and he's freaking out is great. And I love Clara calming him down and reassuring him, look, it's okay. I'm from Blackpool. This guy's an alien. We met accidentally. It's just the sort of thing we do. I'm human, I love you, and this doesn't change anything. It's been happening since we first met. He's not replacing you. If anything, you're replacing him. And I like that. A luxury that the Doctor has that I've never really seen anyone else bring up, and it's just a little thing that I thought is like, when Danny finds all this out, obviously at this point the Doctor still doesn't know that Danny is Clara's boyfriend, so he just assumes, oh, I can say all this spacey-wacy stuff in front of Danny, and it doesn't matter because I'll just wipe his mind. And I thought, imagine the luxury of that. You could say anything to anyone. Like, obviously, we've got no big secrets, but if you're the Doctor, you've got big secrets. You can tell anyone anything, just wipe their mind. He could have told Clara everything, maybe that's why he loves her so much, but he just knows in the back of his head, I can delete their memory, and it's fine. So that was interesting to me. I was like, what? A plot hole of this episode is Courtney Wood's parents. They say to Danny, Danny says to them, Courtney's a disruptive influence, and the parents say, well, last year you said she was a very disruptive influence, so that's clearly an improvement. But Danny Pink wasn't there last year, because Danny Pink's first day we saw her Into the Dalek. Now, unless this past 5 episodes of Doctor Who have taken place over the span of a year, which I don't think is the case, that's a plot hole. Obviously, they could have meant the school in general called her a very disruptive influence, but I don't know, it seemed a bit personal for me, so clearly they didn't think about that. The resolution was weak, just having the Doctor basically say, go away, robot. He gets his screwdriver, it's not even a screwdriver, it's his like walkie-talkie thing, and he's like, you'll deactivate under section code 394745. Oh no, I missed the one out. And then Danny comes in and saves the day, and then he goes, and the bonus one that I forgot, and then the robot just goes away. And it seems a bit cheap. But I do like how Danny plays a big part in saving the day. I think that is good for their relationship. It breaks the ice a bit. That's a coming together moment and realising we don't need to fight over Clara. I can be the wacky old granddad that flies her around space, and you can be the boyfriend. And that's fine. And that was shown just through that act of Danny saving the day. They didn't have a conversation about it. It's unspoken. But that's where both of their mindsets changed, I think. This episode is very similar to my thoughts on Robot of Sherwood. The plot isn't great. In fact, I'd go as far to say the plot is bad. Apart from the Doctor being the caretaker, which adds some spice to it, the robot is there and they save the day. That's a bad plot of Doctor Who. But like I say, the characters carry, and it's fun. And it's more than fun, it's funny. I found myself laughing out loud loads whilst watching this back. It is a great episode of Doctor Who. It's a brilliant episode of Doctor Who in terms of fun and laughter and just good vibes. It's a good vibe. It's similar to like The Lodger or Love and Monsters, I suppose. Just one you could just stick on whilst making your breakfast or cooking your dinner, or just before bed you need something to put on the TV. This is great for that. And I think that's what it's made for. But there are some great character motivations in there as well. But I don't know what to rate it. I think I'm going to have to rate it low. I'm going to give this episode... I think the reason I rated Robot of Sherwood so high was because I'd seen that episode so many times and not enjoyed it. This time round I really enjoyed it, so I put it way higher. But because I've always thought this is a bit mid, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I don't think that's that bad. That's still way above average. That's like 75% out of 100. So that's like a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, which I don't think is unfair. It seems a bit unfair compared to the rest of the rankings, because would I rather watch this over Into the Dalek? Yes. But do I think Into the Dalek's a better episode? Yeah, I do. So, who knows? But let me know what you think of The Caretaker in the comments below if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, you've completely spoiled it for yourselves here, so I hope you have. I forgot to give a spoiler warning again. I always forget to do that at the beginning of the videos. I'm meant to. I have it written down, and I never do. But thank you for watching. If you want to help me out, please leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell on. I post all the time on this channel. If you want to become a member, it's a couple of quid. You get a shout out at the end of every video, and you get access to member only videos. If you want the shout out but don't want to pay too much, you can pick your own prices. Just donate me a pound or something in the comments if you want. You get a shout out at the end of the next video also. That's it. Thank you very much. Oh, there's a hype button in the comments. Press the hype button as well. It helps push it out to loads more people. Push this video out to loads more people. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I've been Sam, and I'll see you later. Ta-ra!